So if you were here last month, you saw Rex bring in Harley, the world's smartest dog. And then Raymond said, everybody needs to come here and bring a friend and fill a house, and I feel like I'm getting set up in this thing, to be honest with you. But at that meeting, though, it did give me an idea, because I didn't have an idea of what I was going to talk about, is something that actually Britt said. And it's very true and very to the point, is the fact that one of the things that we deal with in our positions is the fact that we constantly have things being said, things done out there on social media, talk, all that kind of stuff, and no one ever asks us any questions, okay? No one ever comes directly to us and asks us the questions about the facts, okay? And so what I wanted to do this morning is spend a little time talking about some of the most common questions that I've gotten over the course of the last year, and something that some of you may have wondered or didn't know about, and kind of go from there. So first thing that everyone needs to understand a little bit is the philosophy and how we've approached the district here the last few years. The philosophy is pretty simple. And the first thing is try to improve everything as quickly as we possibly can. We don't want to get ourselves in a situation to where we're dealing with the growth and trying to fix stuff at the same time. We know that over the course of the next 5 years that our school district is supposed to double in size based on 2 different demographic studies. That alone puts a tremendous strain on a district just dealing with that in of itself, okay? And so what we've made the decision is try to get everything in line as best we can, build the foundation for everything that we possibly can, so we're not dealing with 2 different huge issues at the same time, okay? We've been moving very quickly from the pre-K to some facilities, you name it, transportation, budget stuff. We've been moving very quickly to get everything where we feel like it needs to be in order so we can focus on the growth once it really truly starts to get here. And it is here. It is here. But the big part of it isn't here quite yet. The other thing too is when I was younger and I was actually in college, my dad bought me a book and gave it to me and said, you need to read this book. And the book is called The Wealthy Barber. And I don't know if anybody has ever heard of that book. The Wealthy Barber is an old personal finance book. It's about how to manage money. And one of the things that it talks about is common sense ways to handle money. The 10% solution, paying yourself first, those sorts of things. What I got out of the book was the importance of being proactive versus reactive, and what a huge difference that can make. You don't start saving for retirement when you're 55 years old. You start saving for retirement when you're 25 years old, okay? It costs you less and you'll make more, all right? And so as a district, we have kind of taken that mindset that we're going to make decisions that are proactive. Some people may kind of scratch their heads a little bit and not get that. And with some of the moves that we've made, especially with the land, a lot of people will sit there and go, we bought big parcels of land for middle schools and high schools. Why haven't we bought elementary school sites? Trust me, there is a plan, okay? There is a reason, all right? But that is the sort of thought process that we have gone through. And down the road, many years from now, that will save the district millions upon millions upon millions of dollars simply being proactive like that. People aren't going to see it right now, but people 15 years from now will absolutely see it, all right? And so that's kind of how we've approached everything that we've done, all right? So some of the common questions that I've gotten over the course of this year is the district's finances, okay? One of the things that people don't know is that this year we're going to approve a $20 million budget, which shocks a lot of people that our school district has that big of a budget. Probably over the course of the last, Barbara Ettridge is our CFO, and she's been the CFO, I want to say, for 7 years. And she told me the other day that when she started this position, her position, that their budget was about $13, $14 million. So it's grown $6 to $7 million in the course of the last 6, 7 years. In October, we had a little bit over $9 million sitting in fund balance. Okay, that's simply additional funds that we have setting aside in case something happens. All right, we've spent some of that because we made some improvements with our facilities. We are required to have 3 months on hand, And you know, one of the things about money in a school district is kind of a catch-22, is the purpose of a school district is not to make money. That's not what it's there for. If you have a ton of money sitting in the bank, if you have a year's worth of fund balance, if you have more than years, you're probably not servicing your kids like you need to be doing, and you're probably not paying your teachers what you need to be paying. There's a happy medium there, okay? We've got roughly about 5 to 6 months worth, and we're required to have 3, okay? We're healthy. The best way that I can describe us as a district as far as our finances goes is we're a middle-class district. We don't really have to worry about money. We gotta watch it, obviously, and not do anything stupid. But we don't really, it's not a worry. If something catastrophic happens in our school district that costs a ton of money, we've got the cash to go do it and take care of it, okay? We're very mindful of that as well. We're also very strategic with our money. We will spend months and months and months building a budget. For example, last year we bought a new ad truck, $70,000, okay? We'll take that $70,000 and apply it to something else that we need. And so we spend, we spend a ton of time on our money and taking care of it, looking at it, okay? Some of the things that people have seen over the course of the last couple of years is all of a sudden they have seen us starting to spend money, something that we haven't done in a long time. Enrollment drives your funding. That's all there is to it. That's how it works. And the problem that Pilot Point had for years and years and years is that our enrollment was actually decreasing, which really puts you in a bind as a district. You can't get ahead if your enrollment's decreasing. Well, we've got the other issue now. All of a sudden our enrollment is starting to go up and up and up, and all of a sudden we're starting to get more funds, and then we can start doing some sort of things, all right? Not only do we have increased enrollment, but obviously tax and property values have gone up, as you're well aware, okay? Which means more money coming in for the district. The other thing that we do, we're very careful about, is how you go in and when you do build a budget, is that you don't overestimate things. We're very conservative with this stuff, okay? At the end of the school year, that you have a settle up with the state, okay? If you have projected too much as far as your enrollment goes, your ADA and those sorts of things, then you have to send money back to the state. We're always very careful that we underestimate that stuff because we like to have a nice little fat check coming in at the end of every year. So if we do go over our budget, it covers that. Or it's money that we can go ahead and put back into the fund balance. And last year we put about $1.2 million back into the fund balance. Okay, so we did a pretty good job with that. I'm very fortunate that I have an exceptional CFO in Barbara Edridge. Barbara and I work very well together, and absolutely very fortunate, okay? Another question that's come up a lot of times, of course, this year is when we're going to pass another bond. For those of you who are on the committee, there's a few of you in here, is that when we went through the first bond, we really thought that, okay, we're going to do this first bond, get done, and we're going to be back here in 18 months, and we're going to start looking at going out for another one, okay? Well, there's a problem. The problem is our bonding capacity. And what bonding capacity is simply if you raise taxes X amount, how many dollars is that going to raise you, okay? Our bonding capacity, we are projecting even 2 years from now, is not going to be enough to build a new high school. And that's the plan, is our first building is going to be a new high school. A new high school is going to run you somewhere in the neighborhood of about $100 million, where we're going to have to build, okay? That's right now. That's not $100 million 2 years from now, okay? And it's also, it takes 3 years to build it. It's probably going to be $100 million 3 years after that, okay? And that's just the building itself. That does not include the sports facilities, okay? And so we've got an issue with that. We know that if we were to jack taxes all the way up, the likelihood of it passing, not real good. And we also know the fact that that's going to be, we got to have more people coming in, okay, before we start doing that. We also think that we're going to have to build more than one building at a time. All right. The reason why is the elementary school is going to reach its capacity in the 24-25 school year. The middle school is going to reach its capacity in the 24-25 school year. And then the high school is going to reach its capacity in the 27-28 school year. So there is a very distinct possibility that we have got to build 2 campuses at once. And that also means that capacity has to build even higher and even higher. An elementary school right now is going to run you in the neighborhood, and don't quote me on these numbers because Building a school building is like buying a car, how many bells and whistles you want. But an elementary school is gonna run you somewhere in the neighborhood of $35 to $40 million. A middle school is gonna run you somewhere in the neighborhood of about $60 to $65 million, okay? So we have to let that bonding capacity build way up, which means things are going to get pretty tight, is what it means. And so we're trying to figure out ways to help alleviate some of that pain, but it is an issue that we have that's going to come up, okay? Safety. This, of course, is on everybody's mind, school safety. You know, this is something, I don't really worry about anything other than this. This is the biggest thing that I worry about, okay? We have, as a district, spent, I would say, over the course of the last year and a half, we have spent well over $1 million in school safety upgrades, okay? Between the bond, between fund balance, between our own budget, I would say it would probably come close to the neighborhood of about $1.5 million, right? We've taken this very seriously, and we have to. There's a disturbing trend that I've noticed over the last few years, and it used to be nearly always that it was a kid or someone inside the building, Columbine, for example, okay, that this happened with. We're starting to notice this trend of people from the outside trying to get in. You look at Nashville, you look at Uvalde, you look at all these sorts of things, and that is really scary to me, because in the inside, you kind of know. You know, you watch, you know who to watch, okay? You have no clue if somebody's outside, okay? And so we have spent a lot of money on this, all right? The passage of the bond was huge. It allowed us to do our vestibules like we needed to. There's some other things that we included that I'm not going to discuss. We have spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort on this sort of thing. One of the things that has helped pay for this too is the fact that we've made over $500,000 in interest off the bonds. So a lot of that money has gone towards paying for the different security issues, all right? We've done everything we do. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I can't think of anything else that we could possibly do to try to help keep it from happening. You know, Renee's on the board. She's very well aware of everything that we've done, and can't promise it, unfortunately. But we've done everything we can do. One of the things that we made a decision this year, we had start our own PD, okay? And I've had a lot of people ask, you know, how are y'all able to afford this and do this? Well, one of the things is that it's amazing when you build a budget and you set a priority that you can get that done. And our priority number one was safety, security, get our PD up and running, and the board made it very clear, we don't care how much it costs, okay? And so we made that a priority, and anything that got in the way of making that a priority, we killed it, all right? And that was our main number one goal, all right? One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is the fact that when we partner with the city and had the SRO program, that actually cost us nearly $200,000 a year. We had to pay 80% of their salaries. And so we simply took that $200,000 from those salaries and applied it to our guys, all right? We wanted to pay them a little bit more. We figured out it was going to cost us around $250, $260. Well, if you're running a $20 million budget, you can find 50 or 60 grand pretty fast. It's not hard, okay? And so we figured out very, very quickly that we could take care of that. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. There were just a few things that hit just right that helped us with all this sort of stuff. We had a little piece of property up near the Tiger Mart that really didn't affect our other piece of property. Didn't really matter. These people wanted is 1.3 acres. Well, we sold it for $130,000. That money went towards the PD. Okay, the state came out with a grant for $200,000, and so what that allowed us to do is go up and pay for the salary for the fourth cop. We are one of the very, very few school districts in the state that have cops at every single campus. Denton doesn't have it. Frisco doesn't have it. Okay. And so we have made it a huge priority, and I could not be more pleased with how they've done this year, okay?
Bravo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay? One of the things people have asked is how much we pay our cops. We pay our cops starting out at $70,000 a year, okay? Which is not bad at all, okay? And one of the things that we do as well is, you know, when we sat down and started this, we looked at, okay, what can we do to help attract these guys and keep them here? And one of the things was, let them take home their cars. And so we've done that as well. The ball games that they stay after, they do all sorts of stuff. That is comp time that is built up. So in the summer, they got the summers off. And so we've tried to make it a very attractive type of job for these guys. The bottom line is we want the very best people we can have in there to protect our kids and teachers. Okay? Period, end of story. And so what we will do, we will figure out a way to get these people in here, the very best people we can find, and we're gonna make it work. This is all there is to it. We will make it work. Star scores. Something that I've heard a few times this year is asking us about, or comments made, really understanding how we stack up against some districts around here, okay? So in our star scores, this is our overall accountability rating. Every school district gets a grade, right? And you can see Aubrey was an 89, Ponder was an 89, Tioga 89, you see Pop Point at 87, okay, SNS 87. I mean, we're in the ballpark with everybody else, okay? And a very common misconception that I hear is that our scores are terrible. That cannot be from the truth, okay? We've done very well in our star scores over the last several years. And so I'm very pleased with the progress that we've made, and I'm particularly pleased with Pop Point Elementary School. These are some of the elementary schools in the area and the scores that they've had this previous year on the STAR test. And you'll notice Pop Point Elementary School is a 92. You can see schools from Salina, Crum, Gunner, Pottsboro, Sanger, Aubrey, Valley View, Howe, Ponder, and we're right there at the top, okay? The teachers there, Kelly Brown, Shanna Pike, the principal and assistant principals, have done a phenomenal job at that campus over the last few years. This is a campus, if you've been around here for any length of period of time, it's a campus that really used to struggle big time academically. There were improvement required, the state was involved, they went through a number of principals, they went through a number of teachers, and Kelly came in, and Kelly's a very strong leader. And she came in and she got it right, and she got it right quick, okay? And I hats off to Kelly and the job that she's done, and certainly to those teachers, because when they pulled off of that 92, it shocked us, I ain't gonna lie. They are the first campus in Pop Point ISD to make an A since its set from the STAR test. And going from where that campus was to where it is now as far as those types of scores is an amazing thing. But what's really amazing too is one of the things that when you look at it, I think you've always got to sit back and compare apples to apples, okay? We don't look like, Highland Park. We don't look like Lovejoy. We don't look like those sorts of folks. You've got to compare our demographics to other people with similar demographics. And when you look across the state, the average number of kids for ESL kids, or identified as ESL kids, is 22%. So the average school district has 22% kids identified ESL. We're at 30%, okay? So I go back to that screen, and you look at that, and you look at those places, and you know good and well that they don't have the type of numbers we do. And so for us to be in the game, so to speak, and doing this well against folks that, quite frankly, don't have the type of demographics that we have, not bad. Not bad at all, okay? I would take that any day of the week. And so I'm very pleased where we are. Last year, our ESL kids, out of the total of 15 of the 23 tests, saw double-digit gains, and 65% of the kids, or 65% of the tests went up. So they did very well. New STAR test. The new STAR test is concerning, to say the least, okay? Our scores are going to go down, and everybody else's is too, okay? My teachers didn't go dumb overnight, all right? They're very good at what they do. They didn't go dumb overnight. And so the test is now all online. Kids hate that with a passion, okay? If you have ever taken a written test and then you have to take one online, you probably hated it with a passion too, okay? If you can imagine getting a bunch of third graders to sit there and look at a screen for 2 hours doing a reading test, no, I could not do it, okay? And so we're worried about the scores, but what I have told everybody is this, is if we crashed and burned, guess what? Everybody else crashed and burned too. There are strength in numbers. And so we'll figure it out and we'll go on with life, all right? But, they now have short answers actually on the math tests. It's not multiple choice. Part of it is, but not all of it. Part of it is also you've got to have short answers on the math test. I had Avery, my 5th grader, come in one day and just wear me out about his 5th grade teacher and why he's doing writing and math. And I tried to explain to him that, and he didn't listen. But that's the way it is now, okay? Had this question come up a couple times. Why is there an empty wing at the ECC, okay? There is a wing that we have that's empty. We made a decision a few years ago that we created the Early Childhood Center, which was the elementary at that time. We made it pre-K, and then we did the elementary school grades 1 through 5. And a lot of people go, well, why are we cramming all these kids into this one campus when we have a campus that has a whole wing empty? The answer is very simple, okay? When I was a high school principal, one of the things that I hated was the fact that I had freshmen coming up to me that I didn't know them. I didn't know anything about their back history. Yes, I had the scores, I knew that, but I did not know them personally, okay? I didn't know what made them tick. I didn't know what motivated them. Had no clue, okay? And those suckers hit me for 3 tests that year, okay? And so one of the problems that I saw was the fact that you've got kids who moved up from the elementary to now elementary, if that makes sense, and in the 3rd grade level, they hit them on 3 or 4 tests, and these teachers and the specialists had no time at all to work with them at all, okay? So our thought process was this, is get them over there. They are in there as 1st graders, they're in there as 2nd graders. By that time that they come take a test at 3rd grade, you've had 2 years working with the kid, know how the kid is, know what makes the kid tick, know the history, know the backstory, and guess what? We got an A, okay? Now, do I think that's the reason? No, I don't. Do I think it's a reason? Yes, I do, okay? Because it allowed everybody some time to work with them. What do we pay teachers? So our big focus has been teacher pay over the course of the last couple of years. Our pay scale was set up completely different than everybody else's. It was heavy on the back end and light on the front end, all right? The problem with that kind of theory, and I understand you have great teachers here, you want to keep them, but what happens to great teachers? They retire, okay? They leave, they get out of the profession, and you have to replace them. If you're not front-loading the pay scale, you can't draw in the good ones to get them in to replace the ones that are retiring, okay? And so what we did is we made a huge change in our pay scale last year to get front-loading our pay more. So it went up from $43,500 to $47,500, okay? And this next year, it will go from $47,500 to $50,500. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of investment, to be honest with you, because you're thinking about it, not only you're changing every teacher's pay, bumping it up within the course of a couple of years. So it was a huge thing for us. Let's see. Okay, dual credit versus advanced placement. This is a question that I get quite often, okay? We do not have a very strong AP program. The reason why we don't have a very strong AP program is, number one, whenever you have a very, very strong dual credit program, it cannibalizes the AP. There's just not enough kids, all right? We're just not big enough. Prime example, when I first became high school principal, someone was adamant that we had to offer AP English 3. I had 4 kids sign up for AP English 3. You can't waste a teacher 1 period a day on 4 kids. That's just the way it works, okay? The numbers aren't there. And so the other thing about AP is you're not guaranteed to get college credit for it. Matter of fact, on a lot of the tests, the passing percentage is very low, okay? Some of the real common things that our kids would take, U.S. history, the passing was only 48% on that thing. I'm talking across the nation. This is not us. This is across the nation what the passing percentage is. Economics, 52%. Psychology, 58%. These are all common things that our kids take. However, if you do dual credit, okay, there's a very, very, very high chance that thing, if you pass, it's going to count, okay? And so our thought was that's what we're going to do, dual credit. You know, I had a lot of times people ask me, you know, more than once, is parents come to me and go, okay, Todd, what are you going to do with your kid? Are you going to put your kid in AP, or are you going to put your kid in dual credit? I put my kid in dual credit. And everybody kind of goes, yeah, that's what I'm going to do too. How many kids signed up for soccer? Soccer's been a big hit. We have had, right now, we've got about 70 kids signed up for soccer for next year. That's at the high school alone. That's boys and girls, okay? We have got Sid Curry. Y'all may have seen an article in the paper about this. Sid has won 3 state championships as a coach. He's old, he's grouchy, and kids love him. That's what I've been told. Okay? And so Sid has already been up to my office 3 times. And so he is all fired up about this. And in the soccer world, which I know absolutely zero about because I personally don't like soccer, Sid is a legend. And so I am very, very pleased to have someone like his caliber to start our program off. If anybody knows how to build a soccer program, it's going to be Sid Curry, okay? And he is all fired up. And so we are very excited about that. He's got his first camp in June. And we also, he will be doing the head boys soccer. And Jessica Ledbetter will be being the head girls soccer coach, and they will just basically be each other's assistants, is how that will work. We will actually offer soccer down at the middle school as well. And soccer at the middle school is a very short season. It's only about 6 weeks. It's right there, kind of a little bit during track, or a little bit after track for them. And so, you know, our thought is this is something that's going to be good for our kids. You know, we want kids out. We want kids involved. We want kids to be, you know, good citizens. We want to keep them off the street, keep them out of trouble. And that's one of the big things about extracurricular programs is what they do that people don't realize. Is the importance of keeping these kids busy and keeping them out of trouble. So, anyway, and that's it. Anybody got any questions for me?
You said you do dual credit. Who do y'all do your authorizations for?
NCTC, so we're good. Yes.
Thank you for doing the dual credit. As somebody who now has a college-age daughter who was on AB honor roll her whole life in Florida, never got an AP credit. Would get A's in the class, never got that credit. So thank you for that. Regarding the police force, on average, just as somebody new coming to the area, about how many people per school? Officers, I guess.
I've got 1 officer per school. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I know where we were, you know, and I know Texas the same way. I mean, you get massive schools.
Right.
You know, when we were going to school now, elementary school looks like a small college campus in some areas here.
Right.
Think about hiring retired veterans. They'll do it for a lot less. Halftime, they'll donate their time. Special forces, you know, get retired SEALs, Rangers, things like that. They'd be more than happy to serve and give back and protect the kids. So I didn't know if that's something y'all had discussed.
No, not really, but yes, I'd certainly throw it Brad, our chief. But appreciate that idea. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Can you elaborate a little bit on, just looking at your numbers, the high school's gonna be the last for you to fill, but it's the first on your priority list
Right.
to fill.
So it'll take about 3 years to build a high school, number 1. Okay. Number 2, if you look at most school districts, Salina, Prosper, is what they will do is they'll build the big high school first. And that one card will set off, okay, now all of a sudden you've opened up the current high school for a middle school. Now you've set up the middle school currently for intermediate school for 5th and 6th grade. It will help relieve pressure everywhere else. Okay? And that's why you'll see that a lot of times. Yep. Okay, yes, sir.
Last legislative session, they were talking a lot about moving the school to
Yep.
what impact would that have on the community?
I don't know if it would, in all honesty. I don't know if it would have any impact on us.
Follow-up question on your police force, do you have a designated chief for that department?
Yes, Brad Meredith's our chief, and then we have officers, we have Jason Peacock at the high school, and then Rick Powell at the middle school, and then Linda Zentner at the elementary school.
Okay, do they have to be certification, but is there some additional training they have to go through on the process? Is that something you said?
As far as being in a school district,
Yeah.
I would think so, Rex. I'm not sure off the top of my head what it is.
Okay.
There are state requirements specifically for ISD for police
Okay.
departments,
Yeah.
and they have to recertify each year to have the ability to actually use them.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Has the school district looked at using their roofs to generate an income off solar?
We have solar, we already have solar, up there.
On your
Yes.
buildings?
Yeah, we have done that. It's a crazy thing.
Sorry, I don't know.
You know. Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yes, and Renee and I know. And Abigail does too. All right, anything else? Any questions? Guys, appreciate you very much. Give me the opportunity to come and speak to y'all today.
I don't want to end this on a downer, but one thing that kind of came in this morning is the governor is asking for just a